Okay, time to talk about Helluva Boss, said no one ever. So, as many of you are aware, the finale of Helluva Boss Season 2 came out recently. And boy, is it a big hunking ball of meat of an episode, being just a little under 30 minutes long. So, needless to say, there is a lot to talk about here. You know what else we can talk about? You hitting that like and subscribe button. It really helps out and keeps videos like these coming out in the future. Thank you. Anyway, back to the video. So, the episode starts off pretty much where we left off in the last one, with it being the morning after. We get some cute stuff with Stolas and Blitz before Stolas is suddenly reminded of Octavia and dashes to call her. Stella, noticing this, keeps the phone away from Octavia so she can't talk to Stolas. I called it. Hell yeah. Not to the degree where I thought it was gonna go, but I called it. Also, not to beat this dead horse, but am I the only one who feels weird about Stella and Octavia's relationship? I feel like it doesn't exist. They haven't once shown us Octavia getting into an argument with Stella, especially with how much she fights with Stolas. She explicitly states at the end of the episode that Stolas doesn't love her mother, and he doesn't love her. I feel like this implies that she cares about her mother? But have the two even spoken to each other? Where is that relationship? They're trying so hard to paint Stella as the villain that her character is, suffering for it. I don't know, I guess I feel just a little bit weird about all of that. Anyway, Octavia starts singing a different version of You Will Be Okay and Ouchie. Did you guys notice that her guitar says Love Dad on the back of it? Because I did, and it's really hurting me. Something I find interesting about Octavia is how much she blames her dad versus her mom. I've been sitting here for a bit trying to understand why. And as I've been thinking, I've realized that it's probably because he's the one she expects more out of. He's her father. Sure, he's always had his issues, but he was always the one who was around when she needed him. He was her guiding star, and he left her to be with some lower-class imp. In Lululand, Stolas promised that he would never run off with Blitz and go somewhere she couldn't find him. And guess what he did? Exactly that. In fact, he sacrificed everything to save that imp. In Octavia's eyes, Blitz is stealing her father away from her, which makes sense. When Stolas goes to see Octavia and gets into a fight with Andraelphus, Elsa shit goes on, yada yada yada, they fight. Stolas gets kidnapped and Blitz has to save him. It's very cute, but in the end, Octavia ends up saving them from Andraelphus. If I'm saying that wrong, please forgive me. Which is when the drama with the two go down. Octavia is upset because he promised he'd never run away and leave her for Blitz, but he did, and there is nothing he can do to change that fact. She then brings out his pills and desperately asks if he needed them because of her. He says no, that she was the only good thing in his life, which causes her to ask if she was the reason he stayed and was miserable. Instead of trying to talk it out, Octavia leaves her father on the ground, sobbing as she leaves him, presumably for the majority of the near future. Stolas stays on the ground, sobbing as he clutches onto his pills, and the scene changes. And it may be very, very summarized here, but I am very in love with this episode. As much as I love Helluva Boss, last episode felt a little off and unearned to me. I'm not sure if I know how to explain it, because I feel like in concept, I would have really liked that episode, but something about it felt off to me, and I can't explain what. I liked parts of the episode, but it was really difficult for me to be sad about Blitz's moment before he was going to be executed when I knew he wasn't going to die. There was no way, and I wasn't afraid because of it. There were no real stakes. And parts of the episode made me cringe in general because I don't know. Some of it was just a little cringy. And I love cringe, but sometimes it's when you can tell somebody's trying too hard to be cool, So, overall, I was okay with the last episode, but a little disappointed, if anything. However, watching this episode after that episode just made my day. I loved it so much, and it was just so much higher quality, and I'm not even sure why I feel that way. I guess this episode just showed more of Stolas and Blitz growing to get used to being in each other's company compared to before, and this time they're on the same playing field if Blitz doesn't have a little more power than him now. It's also nice to see this much softer side from Blitz. It is so cute how much he cares about Stolas and how much he is trying to help him. Also, I am loving the fact that Stolas is finally dealing with the consequences of his actions. Not all of them, but I want to make a full video on Stolas because I love him, but he has some issues. I guess the final thing I want to talk about in the episode itself is Millie. How do I feel about this? Part of me is interested in where it's going, but part of me doesn't really care. Like, as much as I love Millie and have been trying to defend her, this came out of nowhere. Unless I'm mistaken, this has not been foreshadowed in the slightest, and was just brought up in this episode. If you aren't aware, Millie is now pregnant. And, you know, I'm a little bit worried about it. Why? Well, there's a specific line that made me nervous. After asking Sally Mae for help and advice, we find out Millie's pregnant. She then kisses Moxie and said, first of all, Moxie doesn't know that Millie is pregnant, right? She kisses Moxie and says, "You know I love you, right?" And, like, am I the only one who sees that as a huge red flag? Like, the second that was said, my alarm started going off. Why? Well, that's something that implies that she feels guilty about something. Guilty about this child for some reason. It's something someone would say if they'd cheated on their partner. Now, I don't want to believe that Millie would do that because it doesn't seem like something she would do to me. I don't know. It just feels weird. Like, clearly I have no evidence for this and know there are other meanings to that phrase. But, like, come on. That's suspicious as hell, and I'm nervous now. Maybe she just doesn't want a kid or is embarrassed that she got pregnant? I don't know, but this whole thing just feels weird and dangerous to me. Which kind of brings me into the next point of this video. Am I the only one who liked this episode? Like, I could be wrong, but I feel like everything I've seen about it has just been shitting on the episode and how bad the writing is. But, like, I didn't think it was that bad. I thought this episode was pretty good, actually. So to see people saying that it was bad when I low-key enjoyed it, it just has me confused. Like, I'm not mad about it or anything, I'm just genuinely confused. It was a solid episode with solid plot and characters, and I know it's not perfect. Helluva Boss has never been perfect, but people are acting like they just watched like a dumpster fall over into the mud and then set on fire. And I don't think it was that bad to that degree. I don't know, maybe I'm being dramatic here. That's definitely possible. For example, one of the things I have seen people comment and or say is that Millie was made pregnant just to keep her interesting because they don't know how else to make a female character interesting. And I'm like sitting here like, what? Are you kidding me? Do you have any idea how many female characters there are that are compelling without being pregnant? Sure, they're not all main characters, but that's not the damn point here. Like, there are some complaints that I understand about Helluva Boss, and some that I low-key agree with, but this one seems ridiculous to me. Like I said, I could be blowing this out of proportion, I could have read stuff wrong or something, I don't know. But like, come on. Do I like the fact that Millie is suddenly pregnant out of nowhere? No, I don't. It was rushed and could have been done better. Do I think they made her pregnant to keep her character interesting? Hell no. They made her pregnant because this is something they wrote into the story and wanted to happen. If that were the case, every female who could be pregnant would be pregnant to make them more interesting. Like, come on. Sorry if that got a little heated there. I felt like I needed to say that. I will say I love the fact that Stolas and Blitz are slowly warming up to each other again. Stolas is tired and slowly accepting that he may not be able to see his daughter for the next 100 years, but he's slowly accepting it. The two of them have a cute little dance, which I absolutely loved. Then, at the end, instead of doing anything sexual or even kissing him, let's give Stolas a hug. Stolas doesn't return the hug. He's worn out, and he's just accepting the embrace of the other. Then, the episode ends. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. I know I said it in the video, but I loved this episode. Why did I say it like that? Like, really. It was so well done and so beautiful. It felt like it really had the time to do what it wanted to, and spent the time a lot better than some other episodes did. Those damn cherubs. Personally, I had a blast watching this and am excited for the future. What do you guys think of this episode? Of this season? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you, loathe it? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. With that being said, please remember to like and subscribe, and as always, I will see you all next time.